Um, and all that's happened so far in terms of the guidance is that I'm invoking primary colors because they just seem to be up at the moment. Red, yellow, blue, and we have some cards. And there's these ladies who are those colors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I need a blue candle, but we can imagine one. I need more supplies. But yeah. And so some people are painting, well, Hank's painting, maybe Claire's secretly painting. Um, but we're just being in this kind of loose creative thing today. And so it's not as much, well, it's just whatever it is. Yeah, so you're invited, and here we are. Yeah. And I was explaining what happens for the new people. It's mostly old people. Just that I kind of go into a state of inspiration and I narrate things, and then we follow that together usually. Yeah. So yeah. Anything you want to voice?
I'm just really happy to be here.
I'm happy you're here too. I'm happy that we are here.
Ditto.
Mm-hmm. So we're painting, sensing, feeling, well, whatever you feel like painting, sensing, or feeling, but I'm feeling particular resonance with primary color land. And we're at a super interesting moment to examine our concept of self relating to other at the moment. It's a very juicy, interesting moment where we're all like thrust into that examination in a very direct fashion. So just to name that and celebrate that. Reevaluating social links in what I'm tempted to say is a creative way, or holds the potential to be a creative way. If it's stripped of the fear element, it becomes something really interesting. And there's this super delightful, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow kind of vibration. So I invite everybody to really get into your groove, whatever and however that is at this time. Whether you're near or far or in the middle. And perhaps your choices about whether to engage or not engage socially are just like brush strokes on a great big canvas. We're also in the archetype of the hermit, I was saying. And that's one of the cards that's out, and we're all evaluating this archetype. What is my hermitage? How does it fit in with the grand scheme of the hermitage of others? And for those of you who are numerologically inclined, there's definitely something with threes going on. We have this three primary color thing. When the hermit vibrates to the number 9, it's like of the major arcana, that's where it falls. So there's a chance to play with threes. It could be self, other, and community. In Ken Wilber terms, it's I, we, and it. The singular, the collective, and the objective. With tremendous opportunity for creative enjoyment. Though colors, primary colors, also carry different emotional vibrations that are fun to explore. And for me, yellow is action, decisiveness, direction. Red is passion, activation. Blue is thought and care. Some things to play with. There's also a pretty dynamic sense of time at the moment with self, other, and community. And again, it can also be subject, object, and environment. And there's always the interesting facets of how my solitude touches your solitude. And relates to the integrity and congruency of the group and the environment. Recalling, if you will, that all colors can be made from these basic ones. Thanks for the sounds.
Sorry.
I was kind of enjoying them. You could keep going if you want.
Okay, you want more?
Yeah. And while we're here, I'll just give some micro suggestions, I guess, to examine each facet individually. So if you want, you can keep mixing and playing, and if you want, you can kind of join a focus on a certain facet. So what is it to experience just blue, what blue is? Where do I place the energy of my thoughts? How do I paint with the color blue? Another possible question. Where do I apply the color red? What is red? Where is my emotional energy leading me? To where am I being led? What's the color yellow? How am I physically supporting and being supported? What's my anchor point? And also simply, how do I create with a feeling of aliveness? This can also be, what's the energy of I, of me, of self? That being yellow for me right now. Yours could be different. What's the energy of other? Of relationships? That being red for me currently. And what is the objective truth here? Self and other quite aside. Objective truth being blue for me at the moment. Again, we have an especially creative moment in which to explore these. collective opening for us to make this exploration. Another way to express these three things could also be what's my duty? Being the yellow. What's my calling? Being the red. And what do I think is actually going to work? Being the blue. Honoring all these parts and perspectives. And while we're at it, we may as well channel some liberation for ourselves and each other and the collective of beings. Fresh inspiration for creative modes of working, playing, resting. What the hey, we may as well be tremendously inspired. And perhaps you'll get a tidbit or two about what your work, play, and rest situations can be in their highest iterations. Understanding that you don't have to work with the inspiration now unless you really want to. You can allow it to flow into other points in time, other parts of your life. You can pick this up later and start painting with it, literally or figuratively. At your own pace, according to your inspiration. You can start to find yourself being an ordinary person, coming from the vast ranges of creative space, back to functional individuality.